What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching David Morrell versus Yamaguchi Falcao, and this was a 12-rounder for the WBA regular super middleweight world championship. And this fight was Saturday, April 22nd, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this fight was broadcasted on DAZN pay-per-view and Showtime pay-per-view. And in this fight, David Morrell was able to absolutely knock out Yamaguchi Falcao in the first round. It was a brutal knockout. He got knocked out cold. What did we expect? Morrell did what he had to do. Got a pretty knockout in the first round. Destroyed Falcao. Just to break this fight down and what happened in the short time that it took place. At first, Morrell, just came out there, was trying to see what Falcao had. Falcao, in his southpaw stance, was throwing some decent shots for the first 30 seconds or so, and then he got caught whilst trying to throw some shots with a counter uppercut by Morrell, and then he started doing a chicken dance. His legs were out from under him, and then for some reason when he wobbled and did that little dance, Morrell backed up and then pointed to the referee. I don't know what he was trying to signal, maybe to signal for him to stop the fight, but then Morrell jumped on him, landed a right hook, I believe it was, unless it was a left hook, but he landed a hook that backed up Falcao into the ropes. Referee called it a knockdown because the ropes held him up. Then Morrell jumped on him, landed big shots, started to buckle. Falcao again was just beating on him, landing big shots, beating him up. And then whilst Falcao was on the ropes, he jumped to throw a shot, and then Morrell landed a massive shot, a huge left hand, knocking Yamaguchi Falcao out cold, face first on the canvas. Brutal knockout. One of the best of this month thus far. Might even be my pick for knockout of the month. But I do have to look at some others. And obviously we still got 1 week left. But, very good knockout from David Morrell. Like I said before, what did we expect? Did what he had to do. So this goes into question, what is next for David Morrell Jr.? In this fight, he was fighting a late replacement in Falcao, but he's now 9-0 with 8 knockouts. I did make a little bit of a list whilst after the knockout did happen. I made a little bit of a list of guys that he could definitely fight next. And I looked at the WBA rankings for a little bit, and definitely a definite possibility is David Morrell defending his WBA regular crown against Demetrius Andrade. Andrade is former middleweight champion, former super welterweight champion, highly touted fighter, and he's currently the number 1 ranked WBA contender, so we could possibly see David Morrell face Andrade. And Andrade did just come off a fight on Showtime, in the Showtime debut, against, for some reason the guy's name is leaving my head, but he's the guy that fought Edgar Berlanga and took him to the distance. Sorry about that, for the first time ever. But yeah, Andrade's coming off that win on Showtime, so who knows? We could definitely see a clash between Morrell and Andrade, who's the number 1 ranked WBA contender. Another possible fight is against Eric Bazinian, who's the number 2 ranked WBA contender. He's coming off a majority decision win over Lantis Fox. And Fox is a fighter that Morrell did stop in a couple rounds. But, still, he's ranked number 2 by the WBA. Another possible fighter that he could face is Sena Agbeko. Agbeko is coming off of a solid win over Isaiah Steen. And he's ranked by the WBA and has also fought in Showbox multiple times. So he's around that Showtime boxing area. So he could definitely face... or Showtime boxing scene, so we could definitely face Morrell in one of those little quick co-main event fights like this. And then possibly this gets into the big fights. He could possibly take on Caleb Plant, because, they might just throw Morrell in there with one of these top dogs first before even really testing the waters against some of those decent level gatekeepers in the top 15 surrounding area of the 168-pound division. Or we could possibly see, who knows, Morrell against David Benavidez. I know Benavidez is much more qualified than Morrell, but Morrell has looked really, really good. He's a WBA regular champion, and he fights on Showtime, so who knows. But most likely it'll probably be like Andrade, Bazinian, Agbeko, somewhere around that type. But Andrade is also a very high-level fighter, too. comparable to the other two fighters that I did mention in Bazinian and Agbeko, Andrade would actually give Morrell a very, very good fight, and possibly would beat him. And there'd be a lot of guys probably picking Andrade to win, considering he's undefeated, and is I'm pretty sure he's one of the best fighters, or he was a top 2, top 3 fighter at 160 before he moved up, and very highly touted. So, I mean, David Morrell could have a tough next few fights up and coming for him in the near future. But as for Yamaguchi Falcao losing it for the second time in his career, yeah, he got destroyed. I mean, it was expected. He came in as late replacement. So for him, he's going to go back, take on some lower level fighters, and possibly get called up in the near future against maybe some guys who are a decent level that he might lose against, might win against, or maybe something like this that's a total mismatch. So overall, David Morrell destroys Yamaguchi Falcao, knocking him out cold flat in his face in the first round to successfully defend his WBA world title and to stay undefeated. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.